Hello, Scream Demons, and welcome to the Screams from the Basement podcast with Sam and Casey. I am one of your co-hosts. I'm Casey. Joined with me, as always, as my co-host on this podcast, Sam.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Casey. How's it going?
It's going good. I'm very, very excited. What I'm loving on all our interviews that we're doing, we get some awesome guests and we mix up the genres of horror. We don't just always talk about movies. We don't just talk about TV. We mix it up into other mediums. We've done comic books before, and now we're talking some more graphic novels with writer, director, actor. You've seen him in so many different horror films. I like to refer to him as a Scream King. It's a term we need to use a lot more often in this space.
Thank you. Thank you. It's rough when they say Scream Queen, you know.
But you can't have queens without their kings.
That's right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, William Butler, welcome to the show. This is super exciting.
You guys have a great opening on your show. Where are you guys located?
We are in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Nice. That's one state I have never been to. So now I'll have to make sure to go there to check it off my list of places I've never been. But yeah, I like your creepy opening there.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
That was Sam's.
Yeah.
Sam's very good.
That was my
very Night of the Living Dead down in the basement.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's a nice one. I don't know. It's always nice to get a little ego boost, right? So yeah.
We're here to talk about a brand new project for yourself, William. Like, this is when I saw this come across our email for this, of the project of this is what I'm working on. Do you guys want to talk about it? It's Terrorphilia. It's a brand new graphic novel. It's coming out in April. What is this story? What is Terrorphilia? What is this project?
I am so excited about this. I cannot even tell you. You know, I write a ton of screenplays. I've probably written about 150 screenplays and have happily sold 20 out of the 150, as that's the way it goes. Mm-hmm. And I have so many that I just absolutely love that haven't sold because they're either expensive to make or, you know, the timing wasn't right. Hope you don't hear that cuckoo clock. Do you hear it?
A little bit.
I thought I was hearing it in my head, but
yeah, no, it is. You've gone mad. But yeah, so I have this friend, Brian Gage, who is a vampire novelist. He's amazing. He writes this series called the Nosferatu Chronicles. He's really talented. I've known him for a really long time. And he started turning his books into graphic novels. And he asked me if I wanted to have dinner. I had no idea what he was wanting to talk about. And he brought one of his graphic novels with him, and he wanted to know if I had old screenplays that I hadn't turned into movies that I could turn into a graphic novel. And the answer was an astounding yes. Brian is such a talented artist. He combines hand-drawn with 3D modeling, with real photography, some AI-generated backgrounds. He's like this great conglomerate of all media and puts together these really great graphic novels. And so I was so happy to team up with him. You know, you don't get rich on books or graphic novels, but the one thing that's great about writing a book that's an illustrated book is that there's absolutely no one telling you what to do. And this is why I've been saying all week in these interviews to encourage your listeners and you, frankly, if you have something creative that you want to do and that you're thinking, wow, I'd really like to do a movie, but I don't know how to do it. This has been such a great and satisfying experience because me and Brian just sit around, you know, we took my screenplay, we turned it into panel form first, and then we started talking about what the images were. And the first script that we picked was a script that was one of my favorite scripts. I'm a big fan of the movie The Fog. I'm a huge fan of John Carpenter's.
Yes.
Obvious reason. And so I'd written this screenplay called Circle of Six, which is basically about these witches that were put to death a long time ago and that come back to haunt this Massachusetts town on this one event that's starting to happen. And it's very fog-like. It's very, maybe an eyedropper of Hellraiser in there. And it's just so fun. I just cannot even tell you how much fun we had putting it together. and we did the first issue, and I was like, this is awesome, and like, let's keep doing it. So we created this brand called Terrorphilia, and the first 2 issues are going to be a long form story. Issue 1 and issue 2 are going to be the Circle of 6, the full length story, which is, I think each issue is like 100 pages. So it's a really cool, book that comes in soft cover and hardcover, and also electronically if you want to just look at it electronically. But the really cool thing that we're going to do after that, because we were so inspired by this first one, is we're going to start generating these 40-page short stories under the Terrorphilia label that are hosted by this she's sort of a cross between Elvira, the Crypt Keeper, and Frankenstein. She's kind of like a hot chick Frankenstein host, sort of that narrates these short stories. I was a writer last year on Creep Show, and I had so much fun writing a short story. It's just such a blast and very concise and very tight way of writing that Brian and I just said, screw it, let's do like 13 short stories, and we're gonna release them. So the first one comes up. Hang on, I'm trying to tell my dog to shut up. Eddie, come take Eddie's toy away. Hey, come take Eddie's toy away. He's squeaking his toy. He's staging me. Get that toy out of there. Sorry, you guys.
No,
anyway,
you're good.
So he's like, squeak, 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 squeak. He's like, he's heard it all after this is my 4th show since.
Yeah, he's like, enough already.
Yeah, believe me, everyone has heard enough, even including myself, of talking about myself. But anyway, so I'm so excited. We're going to be doing these 13 short stories, graphic novels that are gonna the first long form one will come out on April 1st, and then the next issue will come out on May. And then after that, in the summer, we're going to start releasing these short stories. They're super affordable, not expensive. Like I said, we're not going to make any money doing it, but it's just a way to be creative and just have full creative control. Every single movie that I direct or that I write, inevitably there's 30 people involved. And if it's a bigger company like Disney or Fox, it's more than 30 that are involved. So this was just purely to have fun and be creative and just tell whacked, crazy stories that all kind of revolve around monsters or mystery that has a nice twist. I'm just so excited about it. And like I said, it's not a money grab. It's something that's built out of love, which is, I know, is going to make it be successful. And I encourage you or anyone listening to do the same thing.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's going to be badass. I mean, the first one, I think I sent you the cover, and I can send you guys a couple of the slides. It's so really cool fun, and a lot of really cool, like these long dead witches that come back. So there's a little one, there's a big one, there's a one that's wrapped in barbed wire. It's very kind of 13 Ghosts kind of vibe where they all look really cool. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be bad. And everyone keeps telling me, they're like, well, you made this graphic novel just for the fun of it. And they're like, now watch how fast a movie studio buys it and makes it into a TV series or something.
Yeah.
It's like, circle of life. It's really not the plan. The plan just was like, my friend's like, hey, look what I made. I was like, oh, that's cool. I want to do one too. So we did it, and it's going to be amazing. I'm having fun.
What's the rollout look like for the book? Where's it going to be available at?
It's going to be available on Amazon, and it's going to be printed. We're doing it ourselves. I wrote my first book, which thankfully was a bestseller, Tawdry Tales and Confessions from Horror's Boy Next Door. I have it right here. Nice. But the problem is with that was I went through a publisher. And I mean, you don't make money on a book anyway, but you really don't make money on a book if you go through a publisher. So I just kind of thought like, we should try to just do it ourselves. And truthfully, you can publish your own book like just as easily as a publisher can do it. And you maybe will make $2 a book instead of $1, so that's what we're doing. So we're rolling it out on Amazon. It'll be in bookstores if their bookstores still exist by the time this comes out. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I am a book nerd, and I'm not big on the electronic books. Although I guess on the beach I've read an electronic book. I like the way a book smells, especially an old book. Old magazines. I like having physical media that I can hold.
Yeah, we are physical media junkies.
Yes,
absolutely.
So yeah,
I read audiobooks, but I'd much prefer a physical copy in my hand.
I think audiobooks are better. Audiobooks are better for hang on one sec. Could you, Ed? Come on, man. He's a fucking asshole. Audiobooks are good for road trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're still kind of weird in a way. I don't know. I like to get in my own head when I'm reading, I used to read Stephen King books. And the other thing that I really miss going to like the VHS store and renting a stack of VHS tapes and sitting in there for an hour looking at the bag, looking at the pictures and going home. And I hate streaming. I don't even like the extras on streaming. I don't even like. I just want to have it all physically in my hand. I was saying yesterday, maybe they're going to invent something eventually where we'll put chips in our head or something, and it'll at least come with a little thing where the chip comes in. Who knows? But
oh yeah. So you talked about Circle of Six kind of being influenced by the Salem witch trials. How much do you directly like? I feel as horror fans in general, we're all kind of fascinated with the Salem witch trials because that's like a real life horror event that happened really not that long ago, honestly. How much of like the real life Salem witch trials did you incorporate into the book, if any? And like, what do you do to reconcile?
For me, writing is all about feeding the machine. So I will spend 2 months, I'm obsessed with all that and the unbelievable amounts of cruelty. We're so lucky that activity doesn't exist anymore because there's a lot of people these days that I think would be all for it. I just read everything I could. I've been to Salem before, and I'm really all about feeding the machine as much as I can before I even start writing. And so I was all over it. I still am, frankly. My next thing is I want to write a suburban witch story with like kind of 1970s suburban witches. I used to love I'm a child of the late 60s. So there used to be all these great novels about these, housewives that were secretly, 1970s housewives that were secretly practicing witchcraft. I love all that kind of stuff. So creepy and voodoo dolls and all that kind of stuff. So I'm hopefully going to be able to move there next and write something that I'm sure it'll be tricky. I think isn't there some movie, The Love Witch or something like they kind of
the 60, it's like 60s style Technicolor, and then it's good. The
Dark Shadows movie that they made, they stuck their thumb in that, stuck their toe in that too, and they definitely picked the vibe up of that. And it'd be really fun to do something like that,
absolutely.
But serious, like serious.
I'm 100% a Dark Shadows apologist. I know that it's not a popular opinion, but I really love that movie.
Oh my god, I love Dark Shadows. I was around when I used to race home from school and sit in front of the TV at 3:00 in the afternoon when the original Dark Shadows was on, and it was so great, so slow. If you watch it now, it's like so unbelievably slow, but it's opera, The best part is I highly recommend that you look on YouTube. There's Dark Shadows bloopers that are so funny. Where like the windows are falling out of the frames and the camera's rolling into the shot, and they're all keeping a straight face. It's like really good stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Definitely gonna look into that.
Check it out.
One question I had that you brought up earlier, working with your creative partner on this, Brian, was him, working on so many different projects. He works on so many different mediums. You do yourself as well, in terms of even just film. You do directing, writing, acting, special effects. You've done it all. What's it like to not pigeonhole yourself into I'm just an actor or I'm just going to be a director. What advice would you have for other people who are in that?
Well, my advice is pick one lane and stay in it. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with me, you guys. Like, I was raised in the carnival and the circus, so the show business has always kind of been in my brain. I like that immediacy of the audience and the setting up and the tearing down. I like all that. And then somehow I bamboozled my way into an acting career, and I didn't know how to be anything other than just the best friend or the boy next door. So by the time I hit the wall and started becoming an adult, and where I should have turned into a character actor, I didn't really know how to do it. So I was like, well, I'm a good writer. I guess I can try writing. And then, but the problem is every 13 years that I've shifted gears, I start at square one again. So it's like, I had an acting career and I'm like, I want to be a writer. And then, guess what? I'm at square one. And then I'm writing. And then I'm known as a writer. Hey, you know what? I think I could direct. Guess what? Square one is a director. So my advice to anyone who's thinking, just find something that you love and stick with it. I don't know. I'm schizophrenic. I don't know. I'd like go from thing to thing. And now I got to the end of the trail in filmmaking. Now I'm producing, and I will say that having knowledge of each one of those departments helps me be a producer, but being a producer is a really hard job, and everyone hates you. You got to like say no a lot, and it's kind of a grouchy job. So I just ricocheted around because I wanted to try to do it. But I oftentimes think I should have just kept acting, and then I would be probably ready to retire, as opposed to rebooting my entire career every 10 years. I have friends that are like, I'm on the wrong side of 50 right now. I'm almost 60 years old. So like, all my friends are like ready to retire. And I'm all like, oh yeah, I got another like 15 years, I think, unless I drop dead, which I guess, then I have to worry about making money. But, yeah. Oh, so you guys got dogs too. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We're even. I don't know what they did with Eddie. I think they put duct tape around his muzzle and threw him out the backyard. But yeah. So I don't know how that happened, but it did happen. And I like it all. I love each department. I think I like writing the most, but in diet, with acting, you're just starving yourself all the time. That was the worst part of just like, constantly like not eating and working out, which I am not. That doesn't come natural for me at all. So I'm happy being a chubby director, a chubby, grouchy producer director, I guess.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you've done a lot of mediums a lot of different jobs within film, but you've also been a writer for many years over a lot of different mediums. Mm-hmm. You started writing for like National Lampoon magazine. Yep, you moved into screenplays. Now you're writing graphic novels. Right. Can you kind of speak to that on your journey as a writer and which mediums you prefer?
I love writing, and I'm a natural smartass, so comedy came pretty easy to me. I have always been involved in improv and sketch comedy, and so writing, certainly I was a fan of National Lampoon, so writing for them and appearing in the stage show was a really great accomplishment for me in my life. And then when I wanted to shift gears and start writing screenplays, I knew that I had some eyeballs anyway in regards to horror. So I figured, well, if I write something scary, maybe someone will buy it. And that did turn out to be true. I'm not hugely popular, but I am known by a contingency of people that will support my stuff. So, and I really do enjoy writing horror. I enjoy writing comedy. And sometimes when I'm lucky enough to combine both of it, I wrote on this TV series, well, it was originally a movie called Baby Oopsie, and then it got turned into a TV series on Tubi. And that was really fun because it was like really gory and funny, and the doll's disgusting and cusses, and all the actors were really funny. So we had a really great time doing that.
And big fan over here of that movie. It's so much fun. I love it.
I don't know how I got that one right, but I did. You think every single one you're doing, you think you're getting it right, and then you just never know until you see it and then you don't really even know, and then you can tell by the people that are watching it whether they like it or not. And that one we got right. I think a lot of that has to do with the actress Libby Higgins, who's just such a genius, and also Justina Armistead, who's like an anomaly of a person that elevated the project just by standing there, but yeah, that was fun. And then so now I'm focusing. I've kind of moved past. I love Charlie Band and Full Moon. I love them very much. I worked for them since I was 17 years old, and he's shifted gears lately. He's headed towards more of a gory part of his life, and I'm ready to not do that part anymore. So I'm going to do more. I don't know if classy is the word, but just more kind of slow burn horror, and then high concept funny stuff. I'm right now, I'm in the middle of writing a movie for Rampage Jackson called Special Op Rent-A-Cop, where he's a special ops guy. Special ops guy that gets wounded, and he marries his nurse, and she says, I'll only marry you if you quit being special ops. So he turns into a rent-a-cop guy, taking a van full of old people to Vegas, and in the meantime all the bad guys from the opening sequence are trying to kill him. So back and forth between old people and him. He's a really nice guy. He's actually very funny. So really, really excited about that. And
that sounds awesome.
Yeah. I'm so happy that I met him. I met him on a movie that I was producing a film for Tubi called Snow White and the Seven Samurai, believe it or not. And he was in it. And I was introduced by a very dear friend, Brooklyn, who was my first AD on the show. And we decided to do a project. So I'm really excited.
That's great. That's like one of my favorite brands of comedy is like an action comedy about a highly trained deadly person getting hit with a group of like
children, old people.
Right.
Like, hey, why don't we do something? Because everyone's so used to him kicking ass. I was like, well, you can still kick ass, but let's just while the old people are in the diner having lunch, you're beating ass in the back, and then you wipe the sweat from your brow just as they come out and climb back in the van. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's gonna work. Yeah. So I'm having a really good time shaping it, but fingers crossed. We'll see if it's good.
Yeah, that's all. That sounds right. I mean, right up our alley, at least.
Good
stuff we love to watch.
Are you aware of Rampage Jackson?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I watched him in his MMA career, and then like A-Team, and everything.
He's got a lot of fights coming up. In fact, it's gotten in the way of my shooting schedule. He's like fights up until like the middle of June. So I got to wait to get my Rampage action later on in the summertime. But I'm excited.
The summer the A-Team movie came out, I saw that like 3 times in theaters. I was a little obsessed with
it. Yeah. I guess there's going to be some more fighters in. I don't know most of them, frankly. I know him. I knew CM Punk was going to be in a movie I directed, and the movie went away. And so did he, I guess. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to find out.
You should revisit that one down the road. Just saying, as a huge CM Punk fan,
I know. I was
too. You too.
I know. And listen to me. I had to beg him to be in this movie. It was called Hellstorm, and it was not unlike The Last of Us. It was a lot like The Last of Us. It was a movie though. This is a long time ago, and I bet he didn't want to do it. And I begged him and begged him and begged him, and then he said he'd do it. And then because I wanted to shoot in Ohio and I wanted all 3 of my loudmouth dogs with me, I drove an RV from LA to Ohio so that I could have them with me. And as I pulled into the driveway of the house I had rented, I got a phone call. They said, oh, we pulled the plug on the movie. We're not doing it anymore. So I had to drive all the way back with dogs and make the phone call to CM Punk, of all people, that it wasn't happening.
That's such a tough break, man.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. Well,
that's filmmaking.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not wrestling for a little while now, so maybe you have an opportunity here.
Yeah, I think he's like I think he's acting a lot now, actually.
He is.
Yeah.
Well,
next question I have, I'm going to go back to some of your previous projects, because I'm going to ask how those projects relate to to your work as not only a writer on this, but you're the creative mind behind this graphic novel. I mean, you're known for, Ghoulies 2, Friday the 13th Part 7, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, full moon work on the Gingerdead Man series, the Baby Oopsie series, the Resonator series. Like, you've done so many projects. What have you pulled from those and applied it towards this now as a graphic novel?
Well, the good thing about my graphic novel is that in my mind, the graphic novel is a $60 million movie. So I can make it, I can have things that I don't get to have on things like the Baby Oopsie series, where we're lucky to have drinking water. So I think what I take from all that, well, I've been doing this a very long time. So I think at the very least, in regards to horror stuff, most of the time, I know what not to do. I don't always know what to do, but I know the cliches because I've acted in a lot of them. So I think what I took from those movies is the knowledge of what we can get away with and what we can't get away with. And it's always changing, isn't it? Like, now horror's treated very, very real. Lighting is very different now in movies than it was when I was acting, and everyone goes for a very real vibe. I think that's why, I just read this thing with Quentin Tarantino where he said he's going to do his last movie, and they're like, why are you going to do it? And he's like, because older directors lose touch with what audiences want. And as much as that's a painful statement, it is kind of true. Even what I think is funny, as a person who is funny and who has written funny, a lot of times the people that I work with that are younger, they do not think I'm funny and they do not understand what I'm saying. Or if I force them to watch something that I know is funny, sometimes they don't get it. The times change and trends change. So what I took from those things was what to be careful of what does not work. So that's basically the answer.
So
go ahead, Sam.
So you've worked with 3 of the big 4 slashers.
Yes.
You were on Freddy's Nightmares.
Yes.
You did Friday the 13th Part 7, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3. I'm not going to ask the obvious question, which is, would you like to work with Michael Myers completely?
I would.
I'm sure you would, right? Like, that's the obvious answer.
I'm surprised I'm saying it because I'm such a grouch that doesn't care about anything. Anything to impress anyone. But I do kind of feel gypped a little bit. I'm like, come on, I'm William Butler. At least have me sitting in a chair and have him cut my throat without even being I don't even need to be in the movie. I just feel like, it's like Pokemon cards. You got all the Pokemon cards, and then you don't have that one card. Yeah. And it's like, come on, somebody. I don't even care.
You're one movie away from your horror EGOT.
That's right. Come on, you guys, get your shit together. Just even if you hate me, blow me up. Have Michael Myers put a hand grenade in my mouth. Anything. Yeah, I do feel weird about that. It is a weird thing. It's like, yeah, how'd that happen? I mean, they made so many shitty Halloween movies. William Butler doesn't fit into one of those. I mean,
you would have made a few of those better. I would.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
It might have been a lateral move. I might have been just as shitty as the movie was. But yes, it does bother me. I'm so funny because I don't do anything for anyone. But yeah, it is weird. So maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll
you even said earlier you were a John Carpenter fan, so of course you want to work in Halloween, right? Like, I mean,
I was saying yesterday, I used to direct a lot for Disney Channel, and I directed this weird interstitial series for them called Reading Together, and they had all these celebrities come in there. I was like, who's the celebrity that's coming in today for the commercial? And they're like, Jamie Lee Curtis. And I was like, it was like the one time I've worked with Madonna. I worked with everybody, and I didn't blink an eye. I was white as a ghost when I showed up on set. Jamie Lee Curtis, I could barely form a sentence. Because I'm as much as a horror fan as I am anything else, and I could barely get the words out. She was like snapping her fingers and like clapping her hands, like snap out of it. I love John Carpenter, and yes. When they do Michael Myers in outer space, I will happily be, an old astronaut or a guy at the thing, and Michael can come stab me with a, whatever. Shoot me with a laser gun.
It needs to happen now.
Michael Myers in space. That would be pretty cool. They did do Jason in space, didn't they?
Yeah.
How come they never did Jason in like Winter Wonderland at a ski lodge? That seems so definitive to me.
Right.
There's a fan film that did it, and just because all the fans are like, yeah, he needs to be in the snow. I'm like, but there's no campers at a campground in the snow.
No, but there's dumb people that go skiing, and everybody wants to see them get killed.
Yeah.
You know, for those of us who can't ski, I'm thrilled to watch an icicle be driven through some college co-ed.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but anyway, all right. See, enough of my bitching. But it is weird. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's do it. I'll be in it.
It needs to happen now. It needs to happen. Yeah. All right, William, one last question while we wrap this thing up.
Okay,
Terrorphilia. People are going to read Circle of Six. It's coming out April 1st. They're reading it and they're like, oh my God, loved it. I need something to consume after this. Yes. We love double features on this show.
Okay.
What are 2 movies that you worked on, whether behind the camera, in front of the camera, that you would pick as the ultimate double feature of your filmography?
Wow. I love that you asked that question. Okay. So one of the movies that no one ever watches that I'm going to say, because I don't even know if you can find it, is Cellar Dweller. I worked on Cellar Dweller for Empire years. And it's a great, weird movie. Mike Deek, one of my closest friends, played the werewolf in it. And then there was all these old TV stars, Yvonne DiCarlo, the guy who played Ben Casey, the lady from Dynasty, Brian Robbins, who's like a famous director now. I love that movie. It's weird and cozy, and you can sit on the couch and watch it. And it's very, very Empire Pictures. I think it was the last Empire picture that was made before they pulled the plug on Empire. There's that. And I wasn't in that. I was
William. No lie, that is legit one of my favorite movies.
Ah, good. Okay.
I love that movie. I have been watching prior to it getting released in that Empire of Screams box set, which is so incredible, by the way. I had a YouTube rip of that movie in my hard drive because it was the only way I could watch it.
Yeah, you can't watch it anywhere, right?
Yeah, so now I have the Empire. Now I have the Blu-ray. Now I have the Empire of Screams Blu-ray.
I no longer have a Blu-ray player, but I do have that box, and I like a child have pulled each one of those DVDs out and like, oh God. You know, I worked on most of those movies anyway. But so Cellar Dweller, you should look for it and you should watch it.
Yeah.
Then I would say, if you want to see me acting where I actually know what I'm doing, and believe me, there were many movies where I did not, I would have to say Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. That was pretty
solid choice. Yes, absolutely.
I would say after the third time I'd starred in a movie, I'd actually figured out how to act. So I'm not too embarrassed to tell people to watch that one. But
yeah.
That is an excellent double feature, and you're getting all types of horror goodness in both of those movies.
And also, Cellar Dweller has a comic book element to it. So yes, you could go off reading it into that, and then you're kind of weaning off the reading part, and then you're reading into going to the
that sounds like a perfect Saturday evening to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for having me on. You guys are cool. I can't believe this is the only time I've ever been on your show. You guys are cool. You're people that I would hang out with. So
we got to do this again. I know you're working on film stuff. So whenever you got a new project coming out,
for sure.
We'll talk about it.
Stay in touch with me, and hello to all your various viewers. I'm sure they love you. You guys have an amazing show and an amazing personality. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for joining us, William. We appreciate it.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.